everyone. Another exciting opportunity here on the Dollar Bin Bandits to talk with another one of my favorite creators. This is author and artist Ben Sears. I followed his work for some time, and I believe you will enjoy his Bolt City series and very unique style. So we're going to get into some of that and explore some background on our chat today. Ben, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What is your favorite Tom Petty song? I should start with this since you're sporting the hoodie.
Oh man, I don't know. I think it's hard to pick a favorite, but I would stick to the Stan Lynch era. So like pre 1994. You can
Hmm.
pick an album from that era and there's usually some pretty great songs on there.
True, true. I also like his Walls song, which was a few years after that. They used it in the
Oh
movie
yeah,
She's
yeah.
the One. That was a good one. Yeah. Well, that was sort of an unofficial first question, but here's the first official question. How did you get into the world of comics?
Oh man. Well, I've always been drawing. Um, like my mom and dad got me started drawing pretty young. My mom taught art in school. But the comic stuff I don't think started until like 2012, 2013. Um, yeah, it just wasn't anything that was really on my radar. Like I enjoyed comics and like we grew up with like Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes and stuff, but yeah, I didn't really seek it out until then. Um, I think Tumblr was like a big uh resource for me around that time because it was like showed me all this independent small press stuff that I just wasn't even aware of. Um, and then from there, I think I put my first comic out in like 2014, and have just kind of been going on since then.
Yeah, yeah, and I discovered your work about that time. It might have been like a year or two later. Had a
Mhm.
really good friend that I've continued to keep in touch with, and we both kind of explore comics together. And he showed me your work, which I loved immediately. What was the inspiration for Bolt City?
I don't know. It's kind of like I guess, a composite city of a lot of different things. I would say visually, kind of like Southwest American stucco kind of bright colors. Um, but on the narrative political side, maybe more like drawing from Louisville, which is where I live in Kentucky. Um, yeah, there's just all sorts of like local government nonsense and police department stuff happening. So it's like I don't want to say inspiration, but it's like an endless source to pull from.
Yeah, yeah, place to go for commentary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's always fairly topical because I mean that stuff happens everywhere. So
yeah, yeah. So anything that you kept in mind when you were building this world, anything that you wanted to make sure to include or kind of change from reality to the world of the comic?
not really consciously. Um, I think first, if I'm going to be drawing something, I want it to be something that I'll like have fun drawing,
Hmm.
and keep me entertained. So that goes, for visuals, it's like I'm probably not going to draw a one-to-one representation of like my immediate surroundings, because I would just like take a picture if I wanted to do that. So yeah, when creating the city, I guess just focusing on making it fun to draw or interesting to draw. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I love all of the things that are going on in the panels that you do. You have interesting pages, and there are all sorts of interesting things to notice.
Yeah, I mean, I try to treat backgrounds like they're also characters, so there's always something to read.
Yeah, yeah. How did you go about developing your style? Were there particular influences that you point to?
Um, People always point out like not so much with recent stuff, but with older like 2015 era drawings, like MC Escher,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
um, which I can see because we had like MC Escher books around growing up, and if you're, I mean, even if you're adult, but especially a kid, just like looking into his drawings and trying to figure out what's going on or like how he even conceptualized it and then executed it, and I don't know. Yeah, but I think maybe mine are a little more inviting instead of like fever dream-esque.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We usually know the direction the characters are heading in. We have that.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have Young Shadow and the Watchdogs right here, which I know comes out in April, I believe.
Mhm.
What was the inspiration that you wanted to include in this?
Um, well, I had never done like a baseball comic before or like any kind of sports comic. And I had just read a Japanese comic called Cross Game.
Hmm.
That's like a big dramatic baseball epic. Um, and I knew like the drama side and all that stuff wasn't really something I'd be interested in doing myself, but like just the sports action, I guess. So I picked one of the least action-packed sports that there is, which is baseball. Um, which was still kind of a challenge to draw because it is like it kind of moves at a glacial pace sometimes. So you got to fill it in with like yes, the sport of baseball moves pretty slowly. So um yeah, just trying to figure out how to draw that as a comic while keeping readers interested. So yeah, a lot of that stuff came from the Japanese comic, but then in order to fill in the spaces in between baseball action, it was like I looked at how Peanuts does baseball, which is it never really shows any baseball being played. It's just a lot of like standing around talking and kind of wondering either why they're losing or why they're there or I don't know. So yeah, just trying to find a nice happy marriage of those two things.
Do you have a team that you follow in the real world?
Um, I don't really follow anything too closely. We have like a AAA team in Louisville called the Bats, which is um the farm team for the Cincinnati Reds. So growing up, I was a Cincinnati fan, um, but I feel like most Cincinnati teams are usually pretty bad. So like it was mainly just like, oh, I like the uniforms; those are cool. Um, but yeah, so the Reds, I always have a soft spot for, but I'm not like a like I don't know the stats or anything.
Yeah, same. I don't follow it that closely, but I'm actually a Reds fan as well. My dad is a
Oh,
Reds
nice.
fan, so yeah, yeah, we carry that tradition. What did this story allow you to explore that was maybe a little bit new in Bolt City?
Um, I don't know. It's this comic actually is like less focused on the actual town and more of just like the team dynamics and um the ghost story aspect, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. This one I'm hoping it's different enough from everything that I've done before because I feel like coming up on like 11 years of doing comics and I kind of stuck to one lane really the whole time, and this is hopefully a departure from that. So yeah, it's less of a focus on like the Bolt City, not necessarily mythology, but like just the city itself and more of like a yeah, sports game.
Nice. I also know that you are a musical person. I know you're a musician, so uh, I'm wondering about the relationship between music and comics for you.
Um, I don't know if there's like a an established connection yet, aside from it's just two things that I do to pass the time. Um, I've thought about doing like a soundtrack for a comic, but uh the way that I do music stuff is like been playing drums in bands for forever, so like on that side, I don't think I could convince my bandmates to do a soundtrack for a comic because that's just not how like the songwriting process goes, I guess. But then with the solo music that I make, it's like kind of instrumental electronics and drums. And I think that would maybe lend itself more to like a comic soundtrack, but it's hard for me to sit down and be like, this is the kind of thing I'm going to make today. It's usually just like get the machines rolling and see what happens.
Yeah. Any particular soundtrack that's on when you're creating, or do you like to have different things going on when you're drawing?
Um, I mainly listen to music at home or like put on a movie or something that's not going to be too demanding. Um, but yeah, it's mainly music stuff.
On the publishing side, I know that Fantagraphics is the publisher. How did you initially get connected with them?
Um, I think I had met Eric at at Cartoon Crossroads Columbus, um, pre-pandemic, and um, I think it was kind of a mutual like he was like, "Oh, if you ever have anything you want to pitch," um, and I was like, "Oh, it'd be pretty great to have a Fantagraphics book." Because at that time, Koyama Press, I had been working with for years, was like kind of winding down. So I was trying to figure out where to go next. Um, so yeah, it just kind of naturally came about after a in-person meeting.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher, and so I'm always interested in all ages comics too. So I know that your books have that kind of wide range of appeal. Anything that you keep in mind, or any process that you go through when you're thinking about writing for all ages, or does that just kind of happen as part of the work?
It just kind of happens. I don't write with like a lot of cussing or anything, or really any cussing at all. So like I feel like because of that, it's just in the all ages camp automatically. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's not something I really set out to do. Uh, it's nice that it just happens to be all ages. Because that's like going back to the music side of things, like I would much rather play a show that's all ages instead of like a bar show. Because thinking back to when I was what, 15, 16, the bands that I couldn't go see at like 18 or 21 and up venues. So yeah, having something that everybody can enjoy uh has just kind of always been a priority. And now I don't even think about it. It's just what I do.
Anywhere that you'd like to travel next in your work? Anything that you'd like to explore and sort of challenge yourself with?
I've been working on the development stages of like a Western comic. Um, Probably for about 8 or 9 years now. And I have like basically all the visuals settled on. I'm just trying to find the right kind of narrative to go with it. Um, and I keep really wanting to do it, but like nothing just seems to be, I don't know, nothing is meshing with the story side. So I kind of have to figure out a new approach because I would want it to be like a longer full color comic, and you don't want to work on one of those if you're not totally invested in it. So I'm just kind of waiting for it to come together. Um, so that would be pretty different than what I'm doing now, but hopefully not too much.
Are you a digital person when it comes to creating? Do you like to create by hand, like on paper and with those kind of materials?
Yeah, I draw on paper and scan it and color it on the computer. So basically all the grunt work is done on paper, which is I don't know, good mentally because you can't just do like endless revisions and uh I don't know, you can't zoom in real life. So like basically any kind of noodling that you'd be able to do on a tablet, you're not gonna fall victim to on like a piece of paper. So it helps keep perspective, I guess.
Any influences that you point to musically or in terms of art within comics or outside of comics?
I mean, visually, I would say like Gary Larson is a big influence. I think Peanuts definitely, I would hope in like the, not really in the writing or the drawing, like the dialogue, but like the, how it is like an all ages comic without pandering to any one age group, I guess. Um, I don't know, musically, it's kind of all over the place. I would say right now, like a lot of like 80s Japanese, not really new age music, but like if there's a Japanese company that was making like a prefab house, they would have like an album of pre-recorded background music that you could play in your house, and it's kind of like a, you know, it's just background music, but it has a little more artistic merit than that. But it's easy to work to and not let it like, take over your mindset.
Yeah. Before we get to the final question, just curious about any themes. You mentioned that you want to have fun with the drawings, so I imagine that's also something you want to impart to your audience. But anything that you want readers thinking about or kind of feeling as they read your work and after they're finished?
Um, I would hope that probably not as much with the new book, but with anything else that I do, there's like kind of an underlying message of don't trust the cops, uh, help out your neighbors. I don't know, just kind of like, I know mutual aid is like a buzzword phrase, but the act of helping out other people and not expecting, you know, like a transactional thing, um, is good too, and just I don't know, not being a jerk. I know those aren't super complicated messages, but if you are heavy-handed when you try to get them across, then that just is embarrassing, I guess. I don't know. It's corny.
Not super complicated, but it's still something people just really need to practice and work on, right? Like sometimes it's the things that sound simple and it's like, oh, that's much more complex, or at least people make it harder than it needs to be sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, love that message. Yeah. Um, if I'm a listener out there and I want to find out more, is there a particular place that I should go online as far as an online presence or anything in person that you want to mention?
I have a web store which is bensears.bigcartel.com. Um, and I have a Patreon as well, which is kind of like in today's hectic, not really hectic, I guess. In today's publishing world where everything is kind of up in the air and not really guaranteed, the Patreon is like the best place to help me keep making this stuff. Um, and that's just Ben Sears on there. Other than that, I'm gonna be at the Lexington Comic and Toy Show at the end of March. Um, and that's pretty much all I have on my schedule right now.
There's so much cool creativity that comes out of Appalachia, out of Kentucky. Just thinking about George L. Lyon and some of
Mhm.
the Kentucky Writers series that I like. I think Silas House might also be from the area, so there's a vibrant creative community there, which I really respect a lot too.
Yeah, it's nice. There's nothing else to do, so you just gotta keep yourself entertained.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I always find your work interesting and enjoyable, and I'm so glad we had the chance to chat. Did we miss anything that you want to make sure to include before we close out?
I don't think so. I
All right, all
think
right.
that's about it.
Well, yeah, glad to chat with you anytime, Ben, and I will be enjoying Young Shadow and the Watchdogs again, and then passing it on to probably a student who can enjoy it as well. But glad to have you back anytime, and always great to chat and take good care.
Cool. Thanks for having me.